Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I'm really excited about this conversation. If you signed up for how our internal communicators using AI in 2026, you are in the right room. If not, maybe still stick around. You might learn a little something. But I'm really excited for this conversation because it's seriously no surprise. Everyone is constantly talking about AI. That is not a question. But today, we aren't going to be talking about AI in theory. We're here to talk about how real internal comms teams are actually using it right now. So, whether you're deep into your AI journey or still figuring out where to start, I sincerely hope that you leave today with something concrete and useful. But I'm going to kick us off with a quick round of intros. So I will start with Gob Faree. Gob is a communications executive and founder with over 15 years of experience, including really senior roles at really cool companies like Bumble, Slack, Salesforce. She's led global teams, built standout brands, and steered companies through some of their most high stakes moments. And today she runs Off the Record, a private membership community for comms pros who want real coaching, sharp strategy, and a space to grow. We're really excited to be joined by you today, Gob.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Next, we have Devin Owens, our very own Devin Owens. She's the comms manager here at Workshop. She has spent the last decade working in marketing and communications and turning information into something people actually want to engage with through thoughtful, people first storytelling. We're so happy to have you here, Devin. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And last but certainly not least, we have Maria Filato. Maria leads employee communications and experience at Related Affordable, where she manages internal comms for a national portfolio of over 300 properties and 1,500 employees. She brings a rare perspective, having worked in talent acquisition before comms, so she understands employees across their entire journey. Maria, so happy to have you here. And my name is Mayela. I am on the events team here at Workshop, and I get to help put on events like this for you all. So seriously, thank you all so much for taking some time out of your busy schedules, I'm sure, to spend an hour to really learn with us. We'll make sure it's a good use of your guys' time. With that being said, I'm just going to kick us over. Sorry. Before I pass it over to our incredible panelists, I'm actually going to share a little bit of data that really frames why we're here today. We recently released our 2026 Internal Comms Trends Report, and it's packed with insights from hundreds of internal comms professionals. We have this, feel free to download it now if you're curious to follow along. Like I said, we'll be talking about the AI data, but there's lots of other really cool data in there. So, of course, when we ask communications what they're most excited to dig into this year, AI came in at 48%. So, nearly half of all internal communicators said it's a top priority. And clearly, it's a priority for you all, too, that are joining us here live today. And that's just the explicit AI response. When you're looking at automating comms, that's at 38%. So that's really telling the same story. People want AI to take work off of their plate, make their output better, and ultimately like be more strategic thinkers. And so it's seriously so obvious. We shouldn't think about AI as a someday conversation anymore. It's happening now. It's a priority, and teams are already somewhere on that journey. So when we are asking like how teams are currently using AI today, this or in their workflow, this really stood out to me. 42% of internal communicators said that they're using AI every single day. Another 31% said a few times a week. So that nearly means 3/4 of communicators are using AI regularly. And I'm curious where you all fall. Do you feel like you're using it every day, a few times? Please let us know in the chat. But yes, again, I think it's interesting to also get an understanding as to how people are using it today. And content production actually dominates at 72%. So drafting emails, writing copy, generating first drafts. I feel like that's the most intuitive use case. But now we can really dig in and see how people want to use AI more deeply. So I'm curious, do you guys resonate with that? Are you mostly using it for content production today? But I think that this is where the conversation starts to get really exciting because we can focus on where people want to go with their AI usage. And so when we ask how they want to use it next, automation jumps to the top at 68%. People are doing a lot of things manually and they want to create systems to improve this. Things like setting up recurring newsletters, onboarding journeys, reminder sends. And content production definitely stays high up there. But I think it really goes to show that the aspiration for AI is to become a real thinking partner, not just a writing assistant. And yeah, again, here, this just highlights like the top three trends for this upcoming year, like where people really want to use AI. And another question for you all, I know that starting off with a lot, but I am curious, like what's one thing that you wish AI could take off of your plate today? But yes, that's the landscape that we have. Now it's time to get real. We have people, incredible panelists on this session who are living this every day, and I know we all want to hear from them directly. So I'm going to kick it over to Devin, who is going to get us started. So Devin, I'll let you share your screen.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So, yesterday I actually posted this on LinkedIn because I was really curious about where people are landing when it comes to AI, right? It's really easy to get in our own little bubbles. I'm sure y'all have heard that term, the AI bubble, especially if you're someone who uses AI a lot. And it sounds like a lot of us are doing that. But it's easy to assume that everyone is at the same level of comfort or fluency. So I put this poll out. I got about like 50, 60 responses. It's not the most massive sample size, but it's enough to get a snapshot of the general sentiment. And I think what was really interesting here is that most folks are either using AI really confidently or they are actively experimenting and trying to build up the habit. We've seen that both in the trends report, what Myela just talked about. So really, we're like past the stage of like, what is AI? I don't know what it is. And there was actually one comment that really stood out to me, and it said, the biggest learning curve I've observed for AI is how to actually use it so it saves time rather than spending more time creating more work for yourself to comb through, edit, and revise results. And honestly, I have felt like that. If you've ever used any AI tool and thought, like, wait, is this just more work? You're not alone there. This is often one of the most common hesitations people have with AI right now. And to be fair, a lot of like out of the box tools do produce like really generic, overly polished. Jamie here at Workshop calls it like happy little toaster outputs. But I think there's something deeper happening here too. And a big reason that AI can feel like extra work is because our knowledge isn't moving with us. So when we build context really deeply in one place, I saw a lot of folks talking about ChatGPT, which is great. We can build a custom GPT that understands our tone. We can have a workflow that like really clicks. You can go back to that thread. But the moment that you jump over to a new platform, it's like starting from zero again. So the question here really isn't like, how do I just prompt better? Maria is actually going to talk about that later. I'm so excited. But it's also, how do we make the knowledge that we've built portable so it can move across tools instead of getting trapped inside of one? And so before we get there, I want to call out that you all have probably done some of this, right? You're in Chat GPT, tongue twister. You're probably in there. You've probably made your own custom GPT. At Workshop, we've done the same exact thing. We've built quite a few company-wide GPTs, including this brand voice and tone one. I created this about 5 or 6 months ago, and it's already been used more than 2,000 times across the company. And that's 2,000 unique chats, not 2,000 messages back and forth. So when you build something like this, now it's like, okay, what happens when I want to take everything that I've learned here, all those conversations to another platform? Well, I've got you covered. So what I'm going to walk you all through today is how to move your knowledge between AI platforms without starting from scratch. If you think back to the poll results that I shared on LinkedIn, most people aren't in the I don't know where to begin phase anymore. They're really experimenting, they're building out those habits, and they're just getting more expansive with how they use AI in their day-to-day work. And once that expansion starts happening, you don't need just one tool. You can use ChatGPT, maybe your company rolls out Claude, maybe somebody on your team is using Gemini, and like suddenly all of that knowledge is spread across different platforms. And this is kind of what we're going through at Workshop right now. We recently added Claude to our AI stack. And instead of rebuilding everything, we really just wanted to carry what we've built in ChatGPT, what's working really well, into a new environment. Because ultimately, when you become more expansive with your AI usage, the more important that like portability becomes. So before I jump into the workflow, I wanted to share something quickly that I recently built on Lovable. I, like many of you all, have an internal comms strategy, and I just wanted to make something that was more interactive. So this is clickable, layerable. It's just like more easy to explore. It's really cute. And so when we're thinking about like knowledge and making knowledge portable, this is going to help us not only like generate individual outputs faster, but really start to build reusable systems. I want to call out here that like Lovable is a great way to prototype something really quickly. I literally built this in a night, y'all. Like my mind is just like, but this is the kind of experience that I would ultimately end up bringing into Workshop. This is a platform that is like intentionally built for comms, where I have the targeting, the analytics, language translation, all of that to really think about what I need to do to scale this strategy. And so what's exciting is Workshop, we're continuing to make that creation workflow more AI powered inside of the platform. So experiences like that on Workshop are going to become even more seamless in the months to come. I'm super excited for that. So I would say the takeaway here is like prototype anywhere, but about how you can operationalize comms where it's like actually happening and meant to be built. Okay. So I won't assume that everyone has the paid version of ChatGPT. You can do this if you're on the free version, which is really cool. So the first thing that you want to do, if you're thinking about making your knowledge portable, is you're going to export that knowledge. Instead of copying like random snippets, you can actually ask ChatGPT to generate a clean markdown file that includes like core context, reusable prompts, tone, so on and so forth. I will actually paste the prompt in the chat in just a little bit. And then you'll upload that new file into Claude in this case, right? We're going to talk specifically about ChatGPT and Claude. And again, rather than starting from scratch, you're going to say, here's the system we've already built. Help me continue this work here. And that's going to immediately accelerate the onboarding of that new tool. Again, this is all in the free version. If you are using the paid version, you can connect to things like Google Drive and your email, and it can pull knowledge from there. But let's just assume we're just rocking with free. And then the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to like refine and loop back. The new platform, so Claude in this case, might surface some gaps. It can ask some clarifying questions or just like want to improve. And so you can actually take those questions back to ChatGPT and just like re-export that markdown file. So the big thing here is like you're no longer tied to one tool. Now you have knowledge that becomes transferable, adaptable, and really future-proof, because markdown files are like the best files in the world. Okay, how are we feeling? I'm going to jump and look at the chat quick here. Okay, I see some other folks transitioning from ChatGPT from Claude. Perfect. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen, and now we're going to go into the live demo so I can share another screen. I wish I had some elevator music. Okay. All right, so let me share this one. I'm going to have both ChatGPT and Claude up at the same time. I'm going to start in ChatGPT specifically, and then I'm going to basically just put on that prompt so you all don't have to hear me click-clacking with my nails. Cool. So this is actually a look at my ChatGPT here. On the side, I've went ahead and pinned the specific chat that I want to extract that information from. On a weekly basis, we have all hands, and I send out an all hands recap email. I'll skip all of the steps that I got to this point, but let's just say I have the transcript and I want to spin up that email. So what you're going to notice here is it takes a minute for this to even pop up. That's not because of like Wi-Fi delays. Tony from our IT team got me like really together before this. It's because I've used this chat in this thread for so long. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my prompt here that basically just says create a downloadable markdown file. I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to send that up to chat. So it's thinking. It's going to take a minute for this one just because I've used it quite a bit. But while I'm doing that, I'm also going to make sure that you all have this prompt in the chat too. So that's what I pasted in. So now you see the downloadable file here. So I'm just going to download that. It's going to show up here. And then I'm going to pop over to Claude. So now that I have Claude, I'm going to take another prompt. I'm going to paste it in here, and then I'm also going to add that specific file that I just got from ChatGPT. And since it's a markdown file, it's really easy for it to read. I'm going to send this to Claude and allow it to do its Claude thing. See how much faster Claude is? Anyhow, so you can see that it's starting to break down some really important things to me when I'm thinking about the all hand email. It's looking at the voice and tone. It's talking about like priorities and like work norms. Now, this one is most specific to the most recent recap email that I did, but as you can see, it's starting to really get a lot of contextual information that I would have otherwise had to like individually upload. Now, the next thing that I would suggest you doing is going to the 3 dots here on the left-hand side of the screen, and then adding this to a project. The same way that ChatGPT uses like custom GPTs, Claude uses projects. So now I'm going to call this project All Hands Emails. And then I can put it into there. So every time I am doing something specific to all hands emails within Claude, I want to go and work within that project. You can, again, do all of this on the free version of Claude, and this is going to really help you start to create like voice and tone and some really streamlined information that's going to help with getting things done a lot faster. Now, if there were any follow-up questions that I would have for ChatGPT, I could pop back over. I just want to show you all this prompt here really quickly before my time's up. I could pop back over to ChatGPT and say this. I could say, hey, here's some questions that I had. Can you update this information and then provide me a new markdown file? Now, the really great thing about markdown files is it contains plain text only. And so that makes them like highly portable. And what a lot of people are calling future proof, I don't know why I'm using air quotes. It is actually true. They are future proof in that sense. And they can be opened by virtually any application. So in addition to taking that markdown from ChatGPT to Claude, this is also something that I would think about. How can you share this internally on your team? So like the marketing team at Workshop, for example, we could have a Google Drive folder with multiple markdown files. And because we're using the paid version of Claude, Claude could actually search those folders and get that information. So it's really thinking about like, how can you take the best of the best and make it accessible not only for your team, but for these tools to use it too. So I think I'm right at time. I know we've got questions later, but I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic.
Okay, hello. My name is Maria Filato. That was fantastic, Devin. I am obsessed. I loved that. I am going to take so many things. I was monitoring the chat. I feel like everyone was loving it. I will share my screen on prompting, and I can't wait to go back and discuss all the things that you just dove into. So bear with me while I get all my things up. Do you look good? Can everyone see my stuff? All right, fabulous. Okay, so as I started to say before, my name is Maria Filato. I am speaking today about AI prompting. I am the communications manager at a real estate company, and our employees work on site at our properties. And my job is to make sure important information reaches them, and it's digestible. So AI is one of the tools that I use to do that better and faster. And today I'm going to be talking about the AI prompting that I do in order to save time and get usable results. Essentially, I like to treat AI like an employee that I'm delegating work to. And that's all prompting is at its core. It's building a set of clear, accurate instructions that it can follow to get you the clearest results. So prompting is great for people who don't have an enterprise solution, and that's the route that I'm going to go. And where I work, we do have an AI policy and enterprise accounts, but I know not everyone does. So I'll walk you through prompting in a free account, specifically in ChatGPT. Saying ChatGPT fast over and over again also gets really redundant. So I'm just going to start calling it chat. But I'll walk you through it and how I developed one of my prompts and what I like to use and the advice for reusing it. All right. So I've done property visits to understand how our teams like to be communicated with. And I've told the story, aka this quote before, to my coworkers, but I have been told directly to my face, I hate reading. And that feedback matters no matter how it hurts my feelings. Our field teams are busy and they're moving and they're juggling a lot at once. So in communication, I have to meet them where they are. My job isn't to impress people with information or big words. It's to make it usable. So I work with very smart people. And sometimes my stakeholders will give me content that looks sort of like a dissertation, and I have to figure out how to cut it down because otherwise my people are going to be confused. So my teams have to understand the message and exactly what to do, how to do it, and that's where prompting comes in. Also, sometimes we have urgent situations, whether it's literally weather or operational changes. So that involves having to work really fast and having a good prompt to cut down on, what I'm doing and getting clear communication out really quickly. And so it's just a prompt is translation. I'm not creating new information, but I'm simplifying it. And that's really all it is. So let's talk about building your prompt. This is so much more than make this better, clean it up. The really aggressive tones that we make. We're not going to debate whether or not you say please. I'm going to walk you through why I specifically prompt the way that I do, the things I find most important. People who support other employee populations may find different things important. That's okay. You can take different aspects of this from what I do and apply it accordingly. Remember, my people are decentralized, they're in the field, and that's why I do the things that I do. Now, I always start with the most important thing first because I assume I might lose some people. I know employees read emails differently and they have different comprehension levels. So what I do know is long blocks of text just aren't the way to go. They're not effective for my teams. And they're going to read the first few things and just go off into the distance. So I like to have short things first, and writing clear, short messages always helps them understand what's going on. And that's especially true if it's high stress or urgent. So clear communications helps everyone, not just the fast readers. And before I even open a ChatGPT or a Gemini, I'm asking myself a bunch of questions, whether it's what is necessary for them to know, what's the story I'm trying to tell, what's new, why does it matter, and what details absolutely have to be included. So thinking before I write. It's just going to be garbage in, garbage out. I feel like all of you have heard that phrase at one point or another when it comes to AI, because otherwise you end up just doing so much correcting. And then you're like, why did I even use AI in the first place? I could have spent more time just writing this myself, less time writing this myself, as opposed to using this tool that was supposed to make this better and faster. So setting the parameters right from the bat is what you should be doing. And better preparation beforehand helps you to where you have to go. Next, I always tell AI who is writing the message. Am I writing as myself, a communications manager, a facilities leader, an operations partner? Your voice matters. I had one leader I support tell me that his content is, and I quote, the most boring stuff you will ever write. So, unquote. So we intentionally add, light humor, puns, even a tasteful emoji, emphasis on tasteful, if it's going to help with engagement. And that tone matters. So for me, it also helps differentiate the ghostwriting that I do between the different teams, the different leaders. We love tasteful emojis. So from there, I also don't want to come off as a pessimist, but I think I won't say all, some communicators know that, not everyone will read everything. So I do like to write for skimmers. So that with that, I like to bold and ensure that if someone's just going to glance at an email, they're going to see, the different things that stand out as the most important things, even if they're just peeking at the email and popping back out. And lastly, if an action is required, we say it. If something is due, we say when. There's no guessing, no buried deadlines, there's no vague language. There's clear instructions to reduce confusion and the follow-up questions. So let's take a look at the prompt I like to use, and then we're also going to add in a few missing items. So it's intentionally imperfect. All right, so here's my prompt. I technically could have put it up at the beginning, but I did want to walk you through some of the things that helped me get there. And this way you can feel more confident when you're building your own prompts and think about what you want in order to build yours. And don't worry, you can totally have this at the end. However, I'm probably going to modify it a little. You'll see here, it has everything we discussed from, who the sender is, our audience, the tone, important stuff at the beginning, what to do, bolding the important content, jazzing it up, and removing the fluff. Now, let's go drop it into the AI tool and see what we get. As I mentioned before, I'm usually able to, at work, I have an enterprise solution. So I'm in control of having the custom GPTs and I know what I'm going to get. So we're both going to have some fun and seeing exactly what the free tool is going to give us. And we're going to ride the wave together. So bear with me, and I'm going to switch up my screen so that we can enter this in the free version of chat together. Oh, yeah, you can have the slides if you want. Okay. Sorry for the delay, playing the fun game of sharing all the screens. Oh, thanks, Allie. I'm glad you like the writing for skimmers. Okay, you should be able to see my screen right about now. Perfect. So let's enter in our prompt. Here we are. And for the sake of this, we're not reinventing the wheel. For who's writing, it's just going to be me, communications manager. And like I said, we're going to keep it simple. I'll keep the employee population of residential property management employees. And what are we writing about? This is a free version, so I'm not going to put any proprietary company information in here. Instead, I'm going to stick with something that's kind of relevant, at least in my world. Weather has been absolutely insane. I'm based in the New York City metro area. So I'm just going to enter in some storm prep stuff and see what it comes up with from NYC government website. See what it generates. Again, we're in a free version. We're all going to ride this wave together and hope it comes out decent. So what it generated, we have, tasteful emojis, nothing too crazy. Why it matters, what they must do, what they have going on, some quick tips for how to prepare for the storm. Since this is a free version, I would actually copy and paste this out and then put in what our policies are and how to actually address it. Because this is very general and not specific. I would also note this absolutely does not look like an email. I do like, though, how it's actually quoting where it found all this stuff, so it's not totally made up. For the sake of time, because I know I talked a lot. I'm from Jersey. I talk fast, apparently not fast enough. We're not going to fight with it and add in more stuff. So instead of me going back and forth and adding all the things I was going to add, we're just going to do some quick things like, let's see, I want a salutation, I want a sign off, and I want it to clearly state exactly what the subject line should be. So, and have it regenerate. Let's see. Well, I guess I am fighting with it because we're just copying and pasting what I had already prepared. So also more information from the drop downs here. So that's these things. We'll see if it actually can. So now it says, hi team. We have our subject line ready to go. So it moved our emoji to that subject line. And here's our name. And let's say now I'm like, this is so much better. And I wish that my prompt actually included that from the beginning. This is where you could do something called reverse prompting, where you can ask chat or, your Claude, your Gemini, to do this right from the very beginning and ask it how for next time you can actually have this ready to go. So please rebuild my original prompt for next time so that the instructions will include everything to get me to this point. So I'll reverse prompt it so that now it's going to generate this so I have something to use in the future. And let's say I'm like, this is great. I want to use this for next time. I could add this to a cheat sheet that I keep manually, or if I have a keyboard shortcuts list of things that I like to use and will just be using in the future, I could do that too. I know, for example, Gob absolutely loves a good keyboard shortcut, and she's the one that I'm about to pass it off to. So that's a quick and dirty way of explaining prompting. I could talk about this forever. I love it so much, but I definitely am at time and probably went over. So I am going to stop sharing my screen and pass it off.
That was so fun. Thank you, Maria. I won't complain about it being 65 where I am after seeing that winter weather alert. All right, guys, I was thinking about what I wanted to show you all today, and Maria and Devin have put together some great things for you. And I wanted to sort of take it to an edge because I think a lot of the work that we think about when we talk about AI is how can I make my work faster? And I think that's a really valuable thing to do, because when you can make some of your repeatable or not as strategic work faster, then you can unlock time for creative, more strategic thinking, better aligning your comms work to business goals, et cetera. But what if we could use AI to rethink work altogether? And I'm about to show you something for doing an all hands that I got an idea from somebody, and I'll share who shortly. And let me start by sharing my screen. I'm going to share with you, this is my, I decided to pick a company, and what better company to demo for this is Workshop. So I went and I created a Claude project. You can do this with a GPT group. You can do this with Copilot. You can do this with Perplexity. You can do this with the Gemini Gem. And I heard Maria say garbage in, garbage out. I like to say diamonds in, diamonds out. So I've put a lot of diamonds into this project. I have a Workshop tone and voice doc. I have a whole thing about Workshop. I actually used Google's deep research to research Workshop and give it a ton of context. I had I had Claude analyze Workshop's website to build both a brand guidelines doc as well as a tone and voice. Now here's what I'm going to share with you. Let's say I am the internal comms lead at Workshop, and I am set to create our March 2026 all hands call. I have done the hard work of getting my leadership team together, and we had a call on what we wanted this all hands to be about. We want to talk about customer love, and we want to talk about AI product innovation in this all hands call. So I have uploaded the transcript from that call with my leadership team. So Jamie Bell's on here, Rick Knudsen is on here. All these people are in this, by the way, make-believe transcript for the all hands call prep. So my workshop has all of these diamonds. Excuse me, my workshop project has all of these diamonds. So I'm going to ask it, using the transcript March All Hands Prep Doc, which is right here, create me an outline for an engaging, compelling internal all hands call for our company. This should be lively, playful, and informative, focused on our goal of customer love and launching AI features. So let's see what it comes up with first. So as this loads up, one of the great things is that you can create one project and use it for like all of your all hands. What Maria showed you and Devin showed you could be just one project and use it over and over, and it gets better over time. So here's its outline. Happy Monday energy. So you all are part of probably workshops emails. You've seen their Happy Monday emails. So it's clearly got the tone in voice guideline. We crossed 100 employees. It has different, folks in here about what they're going to be talking about. So this is great. This is something that I could use if I wanted to, start building out my deck. But I don't want to just build out a deck. I want to do something completely different and more engaging. So I am going to, instead of building an all hands deck, I want to vibe code an app that presents this information in an engaging and compelling way. So those who join live or those who can't can catch up with the information in a way that we're used to, right? We are used to beautifully designed applications. We're on TikTok, we're on Slack, we're on, Instagram. These are beautiful apps, but frankly, guys, slides just aren't doing it anymore. And they're not beautiful, they're not engaging, they're not context rich. So as this continues out, I'm going to, again, remember, this is diamonds in, diamonds out. We've put together the transcript. It has a ton of information. Now I'm going to say, instead of a slide deck, I want to use Lovable to create an engaging, interactive website app for this content. Please write out for me instructions on how to best prompt Lovable. So I'm asking Claude to write me the Lovable prompt for this project. Please reference the workshop brand guidelines as they should be followed throughout with perfection. Okay, so it's going to build me, it's going to tell me how I can prompt Lovable. So it's even going to tell me, you're going to build this in phases, not at once. Each phase will be a separate prompt to Lovable, allowing you to review, refine, and ensure brand consistency. Cool, thanks. So as you can see, look, it's putting together all the colors based off of the brand guidelines. It's saying the spacing, okay? This is all just kind of building out. This is all happening live right now. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this first prompt as it builds out the next prompts. So I'm going to go into Lovable. And I'm just going to paste that. So this is going to start working. And one of the things with Lovable that's nice is you don't have to wait for it to finish one thing before you do the next prompt. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth. And y'all, look how hard I'm working right now. I am making a sweat copying and pasting. And I'm just going to add all these different sections into the queue. Boom, 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 boom. Here's number 3. Okay, you guys kind of get the point, but I still want you to see the full thing, and I want you to see how magical this is. As you can see down here, if actually my face is covering it, but we're adding a queue of all these different prompts. Again, all I have done so far is just upload the transcript of my executive team talking about what they wanted the all hands to be. And this is what it's coming up with. So it's working here. I don't know why it's not. It says awaiting further instructions. So let me check what's going on here. I'm going to do a quick refresh. I have a backup plan. Don't worry, friends. Oh, cool. Here we go. Now it's going. It's building the all hands landing page sections, and then it's going to go through my queue and add everything else. All right, is number 5 done? Perfect. We're just going to keep going here. And I promise this is worth it at the end. But again, it's just reimagining what an all hands call could and should look like. It's going to do some stuff at the end here where it's check the interactive elements, ensure smooth navigation. I'm not going to do that right now just for sake of time, but let's just watch what this puts together. Now, as this is loading, I want to show you a previous version of a workshop all hands that I built as an example. So I made up a December all hands for workshop. And this one was celebrating workshops. This is all public information. This is not real. But this was celebrating workshop getting to 100 people, different milestones. Imagine sending this to your employees rather than a slide deck. How cool is this, right? You guys, this took me the amount of time you just saw to build. This is when you're reimagining what work looks like. Now, this is the one I already built, but I want you to see how easy it is to build something brand new. So, wow. Okay, what's happening here? There's a little bit of a, but here's the one that is coming now. This is what we just built. So I want to show you that this is something that was just built for real. And so I want someone in the chat to give me an idea of what this website should be called. And again, I'm really disappointed right now that this like text is looking a little bad because that's like not my ideal here. But this is a better example. I'm going to share this link so you guys can play around with it. Currently, these websites are hosted on Lovable, but you can work with your IT team to get it hosted on an internal site that nobody else can access. Once you build it, how long did it take you to check and refine it? I didn't check and refine it. I just sent it to Mayella and asked if I could share it on the demo. But for what I'm doing for my own purposes, it does take time. I got this idea to do this from the head of communications at Lovable. And she had she was like, let's just like rethink, like, why are we building slide decks? We are Lovable. All right. Okay. Again, this is like really bothering me that it's doing this. So I will let this keep moving and I will share the link later so we can get to questions. But I just want you guys to imagine what it would be like to reimagine your all hands calls. And then two last links I just wanted to share really quickly is one is I'm sharing a lot on vibe coding on an upcoming webinar next week if you want to join me there. And then I'm also a partner of Lovable. So if you want to check it out, that is my little link. You do not have to use it. But if you want to, help sister out. Anyway, that is vibe coding your all hands call.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. I am going to get back on sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second here. Seriously, can we all just virtually give them all a round of applause? I think it's really cool to really understand how people are using AI today. I think that makes a world of difference. It's practical, it's strategic, and it's clearly saving real time. And just want to share here at Workshop, that's exactly how we think about AI. It's not about hype. It's about helping internal communicators plan smarter, write faster, and improve their messages. We're building AI directly into the workflows you already use, so it understands internal communications from the start. And if you're curious about how Workshop can support your AI journey, we would love to connect after this session. But what I really want to get to is something really exciting and special. We are going to get into questions here shortly, but we're officially launching this tomorrow, and you all get a little teaser, but we are officially launching our own AI assistant named Cece. Cece is built for internal comms, and it officially launches tomorrow. CC is Workshop's always-on AI assistant built specifically for internal communications. CC helps you plan, write, design, and send the internal communications you've always dreamed of. We're incredibly excited about what this means for comms teams, and be sure to check out our Workshop website and our social channels tomorrow. But for now, you get the very first look. So let me get that for you.
Meet Cece, your new AI assistant for internal comms right inside of Workshop. Whether you need quick tips, a fast first draft, or instant data insights, Cece is just a click away. Best of all, it's built with all of Workshop's research, knowledge, and best practices from thousands of internal communicators. CC also helps you understand what's actually working. So instead of wrestling with reports and spreadsheets, you can just ask it to summarize your latest email performance or dig into the data. But CC doesn't stop at insights. It can actually build alongside you, including drafting entire emails that reflect your brand, your history, and what's worked before. The best part, CC is getting more sophisticated every day. Soon, our comms agent will be able to analyze campaigns, find the best send times, build audience lists, spin up messages across channels, and so much more. Now, you can finally spend less time on manual tasks and more time on strategy. CC is officially here. Go say hi.
Yes, I'm so excited about CC. I mean, isn't the sun so cute? Like, I know I'm biased, but I think it's so cute. But yes, CC is live. Feel free to take a first pass at checking out CC. Ask questions about your internal comms. We have a couple of different versions, including an external for all of you to be able to check out. But I know that we're here for questions, so I am going to stop sharing my screen, get everybody back on, and get us started. So thank you all for your questions in the Q&A. We're going to do our best to get to as many as we can in this time. But I kind of want to start off with one question for the three of you. Obviously, we're talking a lot about AI, and I'm curious, like, how do you balance automation with authenticity? I'll kick that over to whoever wants to get us started.
Yeah, I'll jump in first. I think this is something that as an internal communicator, I think about a lot of like, what role do I now have in my work? Because it is so easy to put diamonds in and get diamonds out. As God really said, I love that. And so I think for me, it's like really leaning into taste and judgment. Like those are the two things that I can provide such a great context for, such a great read. When we were looking at the examples in the past, we know that like AI can get us there faster and closer, but ultimately will have to have that touch and taste. So that's really where the authenticity comes up for me, is being that like final polish, that quality assurance, making sure that I feel really good about what's going out.
Maria, Gob, anything else you want to add?
When it comes to authenticity, I do like it from, a tone standpoint as well. And sometimes, I think I said it before too, like I can do something way faster than prompting can. However, it does help with modifying and creating those custom GPTs in order to help with who is this coming from? How can I clean it up? How could I amp up the volume in order to make it sound just like this person? And that's where it's just those finishing touches. But I think that if you're just using it for the same thing over and over again, you're just going to sound like everyone else. It's really fine tuning it, giving it those instructions from prompting, customization, and that's where you differentiate it because it's your personalized instructions, and that's where you see that differentiator.
And for me, my personal thing is I always write my first drafts. I think if you cover an executive, that would be something ideal to do. It's just so it feels like incredibly human from the beginning. And then the app is ready. So I just shared the link to that if you guys want to play with what we just built together.
Awesome. Thank you. Somebody asked, what use cases make you pick ChatGPT versus Claude? I'm sure this can be relevant for like all the different types of content type of tools. What makes you choose one over the other?
I think that for me, it just depends on what output that I'm looking for. As I said, Claude is pretty new to our AI stack here at Workshop. So historically, we'd primarily just been using ChatGPT that was just what we were using. There's not a great logic there. And so now I'm really finding that for me, Claude is a great partner for thinking through strategy. So as I'm building out that internal comm strategy and then porting that knowledge over to Lovable, it's really great about going back and forth. I also use the voice feature. That's something I didn't call out, but Claude has this ability where you can like talk to it like you're on the phone. It is a little creepy. You can change the voice. But I do like to do that, to say like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. No, you're not getting that right. And the more that you can treat it as a conversation, you're going to get better outputs. I don't quite do that on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I get better like content generation from, just because it has so much historical knowledge, and all of our company GPTs too.
Mm-hmm.
My answer is boring. At work, I strictly use ChatGPT because that's like our enterprise solution. So that's what I use. I always use it that way. But then for school, where I'm getting my master's, it's in people analytics and AI. So like that non-proprietary information of just like playing around and testing and doing assignments that they're encouraging us to try different things. I'll use the GPT, compare it with Gemini or Claude, and see the different results that I get because they definitely generate completely different things. And it's fun to test and see what they generate and how they compare.
Cool. I'll move on to the next question. I saw somebody here asked, and I can answer this one. We're only allowed to use Copilot, but I see workshop logo is in the ChatGPT menu bar. Is there a partnership, or can we do it on any platform? Great question. I think that you were referring to when Devin was sharing her screen. ChatGPT and Workshop, we don't have we don't have a technical partnership, but we have AI built in within our platform, so you can generate content straight in our platform, making it really easy. But just wanted to answer that really quickly. I think that this next question is really great. Somebody asked, they said, a daunting question. What do we do when companies feel like they don't need internal comms because of AI? Seeing a lot of JDs in Canada that are content designer-ish roles, but having internal comm tasks. So how are you guys kind of thinking about that in this rise of AI?
I think that we have to elevate the work that we're doing. If your entire value proposition is what an AI can now do, then it is hard to say that you should pay me salary, bonus, benefits if I'm just taking in inputs and then delivering inputs. So two things. One, Devin already mentioned style. What did you say, Devin? It was like taste and judgment. Taste and judgment. Yeah. So I think that's really critical. But you need to start working on positioning yourself internally within a company as someone who embraces the use of AI. You're not afraid of it. You know it better than everybody else. You're not replaceable with it. You are better with it. And then also use that extra time that you have opened up to start doing PR for yourself internally. How are you being the person who is that bridge between the employee base and the executives? How are you actually measuring the effectiveness of your campaigns beyond things like open rates? How are you changing the hearts and minds of employees? How are you best collaborating with your executives? All of those things are now what you have time to do because you're not taking a transcript and having to rework it in 100 different ways. So really using your bonus time to align your work to business value is critical. There will be massive upheaval in the corporate world from this, but y'all aren't going to be those people because you're the one who understands AI the best. You talk about how you're using AI internally and you're aligned to business value. You cannot be replaced. Some of your work can be replaced, but you will not be replaced.
Retweet. No notes.
Okay, great. Let's see. No, we have a lot of really great questions. I just want to make sure that I'm getting to some high-level ones. Does it seem like we're using AI to generate more content rather than more effective content? I see a lot of people copying and pasting from one thing to the next without bothering to think. How do you convince leaders that the human thinkers are still needed as a part of the comms team? So I think that's a great follow-up question with what we were just talking about.
I could.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to get like outputs and just quickly go from one to the other. I mean, you saw that in some of our examples or where you're going from like a chat GPT to Claude or any other sort of instance there. And I think the real part of it would be really examining those outputs and saying like, are we getting close to what I, as a strategic thinker and like thought leader in this space, am looking to get to? And so that's where, again, that taste and judgment start to bubble up for me, at least. And that, like, I forgot who said it, but I'm doing the first draft. Very seldom am I going to any AI tool and saying like, hey, for me. There's always going to be that level of direction that I steer it for. But I know I interrupted you, Maria. I apologize.
You're good. I will also retweet there.
And then one thing to add, and this is beyond an age of AI, is communications professionals need to elevate from communicating outputs to communicating outcomes. So again, if you're just like creating more stuff, but that's not changing employee behavior, impacting retention, more employees understand our goals. We have managed attrition after our layoffs, whatever it is that your executives care the most about. If you are not communicating and how the work you're doing is actually impacting outcomes, then like, I don't know, more stuff. Like, what is it doing, right? I think that AI, again, gives you time and opportunity to evaluate how the content is actually landing, what type of content is landing the best. Someone in the chat recently mentioned using AI for analytics. This has been like the biggest game changer. Huge CSV files with like tons of data information you can upload in there, ask it questions, get context, etc. So this is a tool for you elevating you in your career, full stop. I can't hear Mayella.
No, either.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. Not me muting.
There we go.
I'm not saying that. Not me. Okay, I know we only have a couple more minutes. A lot of people asked really great questions in the chat, and we will be sure to follow up with you. But I would love for our final question to be from the three of you. What is one actionable piece that you would offer everybody of a way that they can implement AI today? What's like the next step after this? We gave them a lot of things. What's one way that they can use AI practically this afternoon?
If you are finding yourself using the same prompt more than once, put it into some sort of project.
I love that. That's a good one.
I would say figure out the ways that you can start to make your knowledge portable. Hi, kitties. Thinking about the ways that you can make your knowledge portable. We don't want to just upload and not have any ownership of that. And so really start to think about how are you organizing your knowledge, because that is what separates you from the next person and really makes you dangerous when it comes to AI.
Love that. Maria?
And if you're getting frustrated that the memory isn't there for the ChatGPT users, definitely build out your custom voice to sound more human and really capture the voices for those that you ghostwrite for.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, seriously, Devin, Maria, Gob, it was so great to have you all here and to hear your expertise. And again, everyone who joined us live, thank you so much for taking this time out of your day. I hope everyone has a great rest of their Wednesday and stay warm, or if you have nice weather, I'm jealous of you. Stay extra warm, I guess. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.